Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Yeah! Scallywags! Let's go to war! I am ripping and roaring today. And it's time to get to it. I know you guys have been inundated all day, all weekend with Iran. We'll get to that in due course. Thank you for those of you who are calling, contacting me and saying, hey, Reese, I got to get your take on this. We'll get to it. I'll tell you one thing. If there's anything I cannot stand is having to give you another point of view on all this stuff going on. I know that there's a part of me that just says, haven't these people heard enough? Haven't they been dragged enough through this? I get it. I just want to let you know that when I get like that, when my head goes, yeah, by the time I get to it, I'm pretty sure they'll be tired. I do. I think about you. I don't want to bore you. I really don't. I don't want you to go, he's going to talk about the Iran thing. I've had enough of that. Totally get it. So I will not bore you today. I'm going to talk about it, but I am not going to bore you today. I get bored to my tears hearing me talk about stuff I've heard about all day. And I watched it. At one point, I was just going, I know I heard enough. So I know you're like that too. Please understand that I understand you. But I have a job to do. And, you have to admit, the people in the front office is like, I don't care if you're bored, talk about it. But I'm going to do it my way. So, again, in due course, we'll get to it. When you ask yourself, when you get to the point where you go, all right, Reese, really, what do you think? Then I'll do it. I want to thank my wife. She did something amazing for me today. For those of you who are watching, by the way, ReeseOnTheRadio.com is up and running. For those of you who are trying to find it this weekend, it's up and running. Site's a little different. You can't comment yet. For some odd reason, that comment section isn't working. It's something I did with the HTML, and I screwed it up. I will fix it today, this afternoon, indeed. After the show, I should say. I'll fix that. But everything else is there, and you got everything. You can listen to the show or watch the show live at ReeseOnTheRadio.com, and you can chat in the chat room live. So you can go there now. ReeseOnTheRadio.com is up. It's brand new. Everything is there. All of our social media accounts and even my Substack, if you want to subscribe, is right there, right at the top of the screen. So if you're watching at ReeseOnTheRadio.com, you can see that my wife, the chain around my neck is a sober chain. I call it a sober chain. There's no real such thing as a sober chain, but when I got sober, I would take all of my coins every year of my sobriety, and I would go to this jeweler in Prince William County, and he would drill a hole into the metal coin, and I would wear it around my neck. And this chain has been with me since the first year of my sobriety, 6 years ago, going on 7 now. And I wear it almost every day unless I forget to. I might take it off for some reason and I'll sit it on my nightstand. But just recently, I misplaced it this morning. I was screaming and hollering. I was like, where is this thing? I haven't worn it in days, and I almost treat it like a lucky charm. And I like knowing that it's there. It just reminds me of the beginnings, of my new life. And it wasn't there. And it was freaking me out, and I couldn't find it. I'm asking my wife to help me look for it. And anyway, so I leave, and I just go, I'm kind of upset about it. For some odd reason, it was really, really meaning something to me today. And I get it now. So I get to work Roseanne does something she normally does. We only have one car. She asked for the car today. She drove me in. Get in. I'm doing all that stuff. And finally, she shows up before I go on the air, and she's at the window. Hey. She comes out, and she's got this little bag. Let me grab it here. She grabbed this little bag she puts down, and I go, what'd you do, go buy jewelry today? She goes, no, open it up. So I go in, and there it is, a little crucifix around a chain. And I go, did you go out and buy me a new chain? I don't do that. That chain it's a specific chain. I don't need a new chain. I'm just trying to find the one that I have. She goes, no, sweetheart, that's your chain. That's the one. Your sober chain. And she said, you said the other day that you wanted to get a crucifix to go on your sober chain before you're baptized. So I went to the store and I got it for you. And I said, this whole time I was looking for it, you knew where it was? She goes, yeah, I had it the entire time. And I knew there was something going on, so she got it for me. So I want to applaud her. I love my wife. Sometimes you got to deceive your husband so you can do something special for him. So this means a lot to me, sweetheart. And I hope you're listening. I know you're running around doing stuff, but thank you for that. Speaking of being baptized, my very own Pastor Todd is coming into the studio today. It's a quid pro quo thing. I get baptized by him. He comes in and he wants to be on the radio. It's a little trade-off. No, I'm kidding. He's got some important stuff to talk about with regards to homeschooling. So stay tuned for that. He has homeschooled children, 5 of them, 5 kids. They've all been homeschooled. Pastor Todd has been homeschooled. He is from the Bridge Community Church, my church. And he'll be here on the program later on today at 4 o'clock. So you'll all get to meet him if you haven't already. I do want to talk about my weekend because, as I told you folks, it doesn't matter. Sometimes it's too cold to do, but even if it is, I'm going to be out in the streets for you. And I was. I'm going to play this audio tomorrow because we've got a lot of stuff to get into with Iran today. But I'm going to edit this video for you so you can listen to it tomorrow. I went down to the Hartford Public Safety Building for a noon protest with regards to the 2 people shot by Hartford police in a matter of 9 days. One man named Everard Walker, and the other one who is only known as Stevie. And Sam, the man on the street, called at the end of the show this weekend, was really concerned that, Hartford was going to turn into nothing but bedlam due to these protesters. Be it Black Lives Matter 860, the NAACP, or Dare to Struggle, which is a radical, what's the word I'm looking for? Let me see. Racially and culturally appropriating group of people. They use the term pigs as referring to cops. That's cultural appropriation. The Black Panther Party used that term. Dare to Struggle, I understand that you are a white organization. Please stop culturally appropriating slang terms for police. I'm just letting you know, okay? Go back to calling them the fuzz, popo, or whatever it is that you like, but please do not call them pigs. That is owned by the Black Panther Party. And if you are not black and you do not have black leadership, and I saw your ranks, there are none, you cannot use that phrase. So knock it off. But they were out there. And so was the news media. Fox 61, WFSB, WTNH. Some newspaper outlets were out there taking pictures. And there were a few dozen people out there. Congratulations to you all. But there was no groundswell. There was no overwhelming presence of these protesters there. But there was a woman who gets there and starts screaming and hollering. I will play you the audio. I have it. Who began cursing for no reason, starting off the protest, started cursing about this, ladies and gentlemen. I kid you not, I have the audio. She began protesting the fact that the Hartford Public Safety Office had its doors locked. Why was she upset that the doors were locked? No, not so they could invade the space of that public building. No. Because this woman could not go potty inside the building. And she was irate that they would not let her protest outside and call them pigs and then come inside and use the facilities. I'm not kidding. I have it on tape. And I know that these protesters are listening to the program. You know it happened, and you know you videotaped it happening. It was a live stream in all of it. I got to meet, she didn't say meet, I got to see the head of Black Lives Matter 860. His name is King. It is not Evilise. She is the vice president of Black Lives Matter 860. King is the president. Rarely seen, but I got to see him Saturday as he spoke. Folks, I'm going to give him a golf clap. You want to know why? During his speech, I kid you not, do you want to know who he put the onus on in the Hartford community? The Hartford community. King, unlike everyone else there, said that Hartford needs to take care of their own. I kid you not. He also said that he knows that there are far more dangerous elements in the city of Hartford than the police station. He said that there are young kids out there doing what they do and taking lives. He acknowledged that. I didn't know what rally I was at. I thought Kathleen Walsh was out there from Blue Lives Matter. I'm just saying. It was a completely different tone. What? King even said, I'm not kidding, folks. King even said, and I quote, that we need to intervene with our people, that when we see them having a mental break or whatever it may be, we must step in to our friends and neighbors in Hartford and say, are you okay? So when the cops come in, that you say to them, no, we got this, we're okay. And we have to stop just pulling out our cameras, he said. We have to take charge. We have to get involved and take care of our community. I'm telling you, I didn't know where I was. I don't know where I was. He was the only voice of reason there, while everyone else was there to scream and holler. But anyway, then some old black man who looked literally like straight off out of my television from the 1970s, screaming and hollering about he was some guy running for mayor in Hartford. He was laughable and a joke. I have no idea why he was there, but he was a complete rabble-rouser. He then starts engaging in conversation while these folks are having a protest. They're asking personal questions to one another. They're not on the microphone. They're literally having a town hall meeting. Let me ask you a question, sir. So what do we do when we do it? And they weren't even addressing the crowd at this point. It was just a bunch of people talking to themselves, which prompted your humble host in the middle of all of this to shout, "Excuse me." I'm not kidding. You can watch the video. It's online. Everybody can see it themselves. They can hear me say it. In the middle, at the end of King's speech, or very much in the middle of, near the end, these two knuckleheads are talking to each other. And then I shout from the back of the crowd, "Excuse me, is this a protest or a town hall meeting?" And people were looking at me because before I even said anything, I was looking around to the crowd, and they were all confused, trying to figure out what's happening. This doesn't sound like a protest. They're being interrupted by this old fool, and they're letting him distract them. Folks, we have a message. We have to curse out the pigs. Can you guys get back to that? And which is my deal was, hey, we're all here. We're filming you. We have a job to do. Can you get on yours? What are we doing here? Is this a protest? Can we get back to the cursing and shouting while the children are around? Thank you. After that, I just sat there and I looked at him and I said, this is a joke. This whole thing is a joke. The cameraman from Fox 61. Yeah, I don't know what his name is, but yes, I'm shouting him out. He was a young black man. He probably was early 30s. Was there. The cameraman from Fox 61 is standing there next to me. And this is his exact quote, folks. You want to laugh? Wait till you hear this. Hey, brother, where you from? I'm from Jackson, Mississippi, he says. Damn. Ain't that the place that the little young brothers robbed Deion Sanders at the college? He goes, yeah. And then he says, man, I looked at the statistics of the shootings that happen here or the violence that happens here in Hartford versus my hometown last year of Jackson, Mississippi. He said, these people don't have any idea how good they got it. This place ain't nothing like Jackson, Mississippi. He's saying that at a protest in Hartford that he was told to go cover. And when he learned about what he was covering, looked at the number of people who were shot and killed and the police interactions and said, these people have no idea how good they got it. To which I responded to him, man, these Negroes are bored. They ain't got nothing else to do on a Saturday. That's all this is. It's the first 50-degree weather in weeks. And these folks came here to debate about a debate about a shooting that they know nothing about. And when we return, I'll tell you the dirty little details of said shooting, of Mr. Walker and Stevie. I was talking to a couple of officers and got the inside track on what took place inside. And I got to tell you, folks, these people need protest because there's nothing to do up here. These activists have nothing to do, and they all want to be down. And it's crazy because it's not just them. It's Jim Himes. It's Chris Murphy. It's John Larson. It's Dick Blumenthal. It's Governor Lamont. They all need something to do. And they all are trying to get the spotlight, hoping somebody will recognize them. Because they live in the little Tony state of Connecticut. But that's okay. We're going to teach them exactly how to get the attention they deserve when we return. So go nowhere. Telephone lines, they'll be open in a bit. But Reese on the Radio is live. Head there now. And, of course, you can check us on YouTube or on X if you want to. We'll be back. It's Reese on the Radio.
Fan of WTIC? Then do us a favor. Download the free Odyssey app and favorite WTIC.
Yeah, we're back. Reese on the Radio right here live. Don't forget to go to reeseontheradio.com if you want to watch the show because we are good and raring to go on this Monday. Pastor Todd will be here at 4 o'clock. We'll talk to him about homeschooling. There are some... I want to say there's some hearings today on homeschooling. And you may remember Martin Looney said something along the lines of creating some new guidelines on homeschooling. A lot of parents are upset about that here in Connecticut. So we're going to talk about that with him in due course. Also, don't forget to check out my Substack, which you can find at reeseontheradio.com. The new Substack is there talking about these shootings that took place in a protest that took place on Saturday about them. You may have heard Dave Mager at the bottom of the news talking about Stevie, the second shooting. Again, as he mentioned, both of these individuals, Walker and Stevie, were mentally ill. I feel bad because using the term mentally ill put such a negative connotation when it's said, but they were. It is beyond a shadow of a doubt. Mr. Walker may indeed have been a person off of his medication, and he was not prone to violence by any measure. However, a lot of violence did happen on the day he was killed. The part that I don't seem to understand, at least with the protesters, there is video evidence that came from 3 different places. 2 police officer body cams and an iPad by Mr. Walker's daughter. All of that footage has been reviewed. And as I said on Friday, that unless Mr. Walker was raising his hands to shout the famous refrain from Adam in He-Man to conjure up the sort of omens, there is no reason why Mr. Walker would have his hand and a blade above his head, if not to plunge it into the person of the police officer that was between he and his son. Plus, ladies and gentlemen, the protesters failed to mention that the reason why the police officer was in said proximity of Mr. Walker and that blade was because the officer was trying to break up a fight between, wait for it, Mr. Walker and his son. They were in a fight. This was a domestic issue that escalated while the 211 responders were there. There was also a threat of tossing a pot of boiling water on individuals, be it the officers or his son. Regardless, the police officers engaged physically because there was a fight between the people who called and the person they were calling about, their father. Now, I don't want to cast aspersions on his daughter, who we know because we watched the police cam, was very irate, unreasonable, and volatile in that situation. She contributed to the violence that ensued. She did not help it. She exacerbated it. Everybody knows that, as does she. Even their own mother, who arrived on the scene, screamed at them, telling them to listen to police officers. You don't know that. I do. Because I did the legwork. Mr. Walker should not be dead. There were people who should have, and did not, who should have allowed the officers to do their job. We also heard this nonsense that's being, I don't know, exaggerated by protesters and agitators. Why they have to bring 11 officers to the scene? They were coming there because they heard a domestic situation. They brought 11 officers for just one man. Now, on the outside looking in and not knowing what you're talking about, I'm sure a lot of bozos can look at that and say, yeah, Reese, what about that? Well, again, if you hadn't been intellectually lazy, you would have learned something about why the officers were there. See, a mental health issue that involves 211 doesn't happen every day. And when they do, some officers need training. Some officers go to see how this is being implemented. Do you know that there were trainees that were on site? That some officers said, hey, great opportunity for you to learn how it's done, how to proceed in the event of a mental health issue when you may have to have a 211 operator show up, a mental health operator show up. This would be a great opportunity. So they show up there to observe how it's done, how it's de-escalated. It's on-the-job training, especially for rookies. When you get there, who knows how it's going to end up? You can't predict the outcome of these mental health episodes. And this one, well, no predicting that, because it went off the rails and it ended with the police officer shooting. So again, not knowing that, you just see person dead, 11 officers. Oh yeah, they all showed up to kill the man. Stupid, lazy, irresponsible. You didn't know that. Nobody knew that? No. Why? Why didn't you know that? Oh, you were relying on the news? You mean you expected the story to be told to you in extreme detail in 2 minutes? Sometimes 68 seconds? Did you really think that you were going to get the nuance of this case? News media doesn't care about that. That's all done in print after the fact, and most of you don't read anyway. I don't blame you. I don't like to read either. But you knew nothing about that. But again, this weekend, I did the legwork. You can thank me later. I'll just applaud myself. So when you see all of this take place, all of a sudden, the fangs of these rabble-rousers, Dare to Struggle, Black Lives Matter 860, the fangs are immediately pulled out. The protest has no teeth because they didn't care about that. They needed something to protest. Well, I've got one for you. You guys want to protest something. How about J. Allen Jones? Can we get back to that? What happened to that protest? Dare to Struggle, Black Lives Matter 860, Corey Betts at the Hartford NAACP. Scott Xdale X, whatever his name is, whatever, of the state NAACP. Where's the outrage for J. Allen Jones? Huh? There's nobody who remembers that there was supposed to be a videotape that was released after Thanksgiving? No release whatsoever. Is William Tong getting a pass? Is this so that we can avoid a little Democrat on Democrat mudslinging? Is that what it is? Are you protecting one of your own? Is William Tong going to be allowed to run around with lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit, going against the Trump administration or anybody, and then J. Allen Jones, everybody goes, yeah, but, I don't know, Corey. Corey might have to explain to me how you show up at the courtroom while all of these people give a statement to the judge trying to get the videotape released. You were there too, my friend. I sat right behind you in the courtroom. We exchanged numbers. Said, when you coming on my show, you hemmed and hawed. You gave me the aw shucks. Every time I call you, phone's busy. What was it, a week after? 2 weeks after that court hearing, you post on Instagram that you are chummed up with William Tong, talking about great conversation with the AG on homelessness. Oh, so you sold out J. Allen Jones so you can get some cred. You can get some cred with the AG. Is that what you do? I mean, is that how we operate now? All these so-called civil rightsers, they rabble-rouse until one of the big dogs with a nice check come by and say, hey, I got some hush money for you. So I heard you want this, that, and the third. So Maybe you give me some leverage on the J. Allen Jones thing, huh? Yeah, you want to meet with the big dogs? I know a lot of people with some checks. Come on, I want to know. I need to understand this. They called J. Allen Jones's death similar to George Floyd, and the average rabble-rouser is nowhere to be found? Huh? Typical civil rightsers nowhere? They're comparing it to George Floyd? We're talking about the guy who set off burning the country down? You got a second one that can give you national attention, and you got nothing? All of a sudden, everybody's hush-hush about it? I asked Eva Lease at Black Lives Matter 860. She gave me nothing. She thanked me for keeping attention on it. She thanked me. I'm like, what about you? You're the whole thing. Like, that's the Black Lives Matter thing. That's you. How you thanking the Uncle Tom sellout Negro? I think we understand what the truth is. We'll get to that when we return. It's Reese on the radio.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Yeah, man, we are back. Reese on the radio right here live on WTIC, News Talk 1080. We'll get to the Iran stuff in due course. We've also got Pastor Todd, my pastor of Bridge Community Church, coming in today at 4 o'clock. We'll talk to him about homeschooling. We might even talk to him about my baptism. We may. But a whole bunch of other stuff going on in the news today. We'll get to that. Of course, stupidest thing I read today, some music news. Found out something interesting in 1966 that can't wait to share with you as well. If you're just joining us, we're talking about the usual suspects, the so-called rabble-rousers protest class here in Connecticut. First of all, let me tell you this. This is the first thing you need to notice, and this is something rampant in Connecticut, in all walks of life. First of all, it's the same people all the time. That is becoming really, really old and stale here in Connecticut. Rosa DeLaura, Jim Himes, John Larson, Dick Blumenthal, Chris Murphy. It's the same thing over and over again, saying the same stuff over and over again, and then wondering why guys like Chris Murphy only polls in at 1%. Because people are done. They can't expect anything new from these people. And the activist class is no different. I went to this protest on Saturday at the Hartford Public Safety Building. And most of the people there was the same folks I saw at the City Hall protest for Renee Good. And started off their speech with the same nonsense that I heard at the last protest. And the last protest had more people than this protest, and you start to realize that the crowd is getting thinner and thinner because nobody wants to show up to the same stupid rally, talking about the same stupid stuff and wasting an afternoon. I'm not going to lie. I left there going, I just wasted hours on this. I was so disappointed. I was hoping we were going to see some serious stuff, but I knew it was over when a protest called Black Lives Matter 860 that's set for noon doesn't start till 12:30. Are you kidding me? You mean to tell me y'all started late on your own protest? You had to drag yourselves out of bed and you couldn't even be on time? I showed up to a protest I was not a part of at 11:30. I set up a half an hour before you people even started showing up. And one guy showed up at exactly 11:59, and he was there by himself until about 12:10. Listen, if you guys really, really want to make some noise, can you just call one of these guys, whoever, Warren Buffett, George Soros, the Ford Foundation, get some funding. You're never going to stand a chance against the rest of these guys who are well-funded by all of the, international, agitators who got plenty of money and deep pockets, and they love giving it to you fools to make nuts of yourselves. Please. If you're doing this grassroots with no money and nobody's paying you, no one's going to show up, okay? Seriously, you got to pay people to show up. You got to dig deep in your pockets, and you got to start handing people $50 an hour, okay? Seriously, you got to pay people to be muckrakers. They don't do it for free anymore. I mean, maybe some of those bozos out there did it for free. They were really into it. But if you're planning on making an impact, it ain't going to come cheap anymore. Protest is paid for. The revolution will not be televised, but it will be sponsored by Soros. I'm just letting you know. It will be brought to you by Warren Buffett. Okay? Won't be televised, but it will be sponsored. Nobody cares about your little activism. You got to get funding. So hurry up, get yourself a 501c3 or C4 or whatever the heck you don't get any C4, but you know what I mean. Don't miscommunicate. Don't misunderstand me. Get your little status, okay? So you can start taking charitable contributions. Indivisible, they've got plenty of money. I'm sure they'd love to spread it around, and they'll even join you on your fool's errand to stand outside to look like you're doing something. But nobody cares. You could have gotten some grassroots stuff on the Jay Allen thing, but I think that moment has passed. In fact, I don't even think anybody cares anymore. Just me. Ain't that a shame? Really? You got shown up by the Uncle Tom on a George Floyd death. Your words, not mine. Pathetic. We'll come back. Top of the hour news is upon us. Dave Mager is in for John Silva today. And we'll return. It's Reese on the Radio.
Reese on the Radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
Hey, we are back. And happy Monday to all of you. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. I know Saturday was nice. Sunday, a little cold. I spent most of my time at church from like the morning until well into the afternoon, and then tried to get home and do some work. That just wasn't happening. But I had a pretty eventful weekend. And, oh, man, I posted this on Facebook. If anyone gets a chance to go to my Facebook page, I want to thank, I got to look up. Why am I forgetting who it was? Anyway, I'll remind myself who it was, and I want to say it's Kyle. It's got to be Kyle. I want to thank Kyle. He made placemats for us at 10 Cafe and in Bristol. And Rodney, the owner there, gave them to us. We took a picture. I hope he posts them. And the placemats are myself and Roseanne as Beauty and the Reese, which is hilarious. He superimposed our heads on the characters Belle and the Beast. And I thought that was so sweet. And thank you, Kyle, for doing that. If you're listening to the program, I was impressed. And I love the fact anybody who can make me laugh like that is you've got a special place in my heart. And thank you for doing that. You didn't have to. But we have them. Actually, I forgot them in the car. They're still sitting. They're not in like the trunk or anything. They're just sitting in the back seat. And I forgot to grab them when we got home yesterday. But we're going to put them on our little nook where we eat dinner. We are going to use them every night. So we're very happy about that. Thank you. Yeah, Melody, you did see that, right? It was a great gesture. Very happy about that. What else was there? Of course, I said Pastor Todd's coming in. We'll talk to him about homeschooling and so much more on that front as well. So, okay, I get the whole thing with Iran. I get that a lot of you are talking about this from the perspective of Democrats not reading the room. That they immediately came out and had their signs ready to go, protesting Donald Trump, putting us, in their words, at war with Iran. And I know it is low-hanging fruit to a lot of folks who are asking me about it. What's going on with these Democrats? It's what you think is going on. They have no concept of what's going on at all. They don't know what they're protesting. This isn't hypocrisy. This is stupidity. You got to come to grips with it. I know you're not the type to say it. You want to be nice people. You want to call them crazy. No. Crazy would never bother to protest this. Stupid would. See, a stupid person would make this rationale or no rationale whatsoever. So let me explain it to you. 30,000 people, according to reports, were murdered by the Islamic Guard, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, by the government. People were found, sought after, and even shot in the street to the tune of 30,000. They all saw it. Every one of those protesters saw it happen, saw it reported, unless they were living in a cave. Now, listen closely, because this makes sense. And if no one else told you this, let me be the first. What are the Democrats telling you about Donald Trump? We had a man call here on this program who was crying, and I'm not saying that to poke fun at him. He was emotionally upset because his daughter and he are no longer talking. What did she say to him? She said, "Dad, you don't understand. Donald Trump and his government want to kill me because of my lifestyle choices." That man's daughter is echoing what every one of these people are in the street screaming and hollering, and many in the news media. A woman on CNN said, and I quote, to a bunch of people in a sort of roundtable forum on Abby Phillips' program, that Donald Trump said in his State of the Union speech that he hated Democrats and wanted them dead. That's what they say that they're fighting about. That's the whole purpose of the No Kings rallies. It is because this authoritarian regime wishes to kill them if they resist. That's the whole thing. That's the whole enchilada of why they are out there. And then you have an actual regime, an actual authoritarian regime murdering people in the street, finding them in their homes, removing them, and killing them. The kind of barbarism they claim Donald Trump is doing here. And who did they go outside to protest for? The Ayatollah doing the thing that they claim to be fearful of in this country. Folks, that isn't hypocrisy. That is stupidity. Do you understand that? Stop trying to rationalize it for yourself. Give up. You cannot negotiate with stupid people. You can't have a conversation with them. They are stupid. Give me another explanation. Misguided, would be they don't understand what's going on. They claim to be, if you think about it, folks, they claim to be the most informed group of people and also the most moral. They tell you to your face, as I display what I just displayed. Remember, authoritarian government in the United States, we are turning into an autocracy. Donald Trump wishes to kill us. He is a Nazi. He is a dictator. He is going to annihilate us. Ayatollah Khomeini actually doing that. Whom do they side with? You'd have to be stupid to do that with a straight face. There is no explanation. Right? 47 million women liberated over the weekend. In the United States, women, second-class citizen. Donald Trump, war on women. Ayatollah Khomeini, wrap yourselves up. Women have no rights. Actual atrocities against women. Who do these bozos side with? The regime. Hands off Iran. While Iranians, right in front of them, again, right in front of them, cheer the President of the United States. And they act like, when asked, you can see the videos, they're asked flat out, how can you protest for the regime against Donald Trump when you see the Iranians over there, hundreds of them, celebrating him? They don't know what they're talking about. Wait, the Iranians who are from Iran, the people who escaped that regime don't know what they're talking about? Yes, they don't know what they're talking about. Are you from Iran? No, I'm from Chelsea. Have you ever been to Iran? No. He's from Iran. Yes, but he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's believing the propaganda. What propaganda? The propaganda from Donald Trump. Folks, this is stupid. I hate to have to tell you to do this, but let it go. You have to. Release yourself from it. Can I play this for you? This is a perfect example. Where is this? This is I would assume, I'm just telling you from what I can see, he appears to be maybe, and there's nothing wrong with it apparently, but this man may be a gay man from Iran. Or an Iranian gay man. He may have lived in America his entire life, but he obviously has roots there. Listen to him.
How can you be silent? This is not okay. I'm no longer going to support Democrats. You Iranians, none of you should support Democrats. I'm honest. Honestly, I'm livid. I'm livid. I'm done with them completely. Just acknowledge the truth. Islamist Marxism is a terrorist entity. 90 million Iranians held hostage for 47 years because of your silence. American people, this is not about being politically correct. This is not about Islam. This is not about religion. This is about a cult. I beg you, I urge everyone, Democrat, Republican, please stand for people of Iran. This time, please stand by us.
They're begging them. While they're trying to celebrate in the streets, he can't understand his own party. What are you doing? This is a woman named Moj Madara. This woman is a Democrat, and she is a co-owner of a business with actress Gwyneth Paltrow. She was on CNN over the weekend with Dana Bash. And what she said is indicative of what you have been trying to say about Democrats forever. Will they get the message? No, stupid people won't. But that's the reason why Democrats cannot win in 2026. Listen.
I think that it is imperative the Democratic Party wake up and get past their dislike of Donald Trump, the President Trump, and their feelings of international conflicts going on. This is about national security. This is about what is possible in the Middle East. This is about being a good neighbor, good partner to the Gulf states and what their aspirations are. This is about supporting the people of Venezuela. This is about dismembering our relationship with, or not dismembering, but resetting our relationship with China. Right now, 55% of the oil production that Iran produces goes to China despite sanctions. You want to support the people of Ukraine? You want to end that war? You have to. There is no getting around dismembering this Islamic Republic. It is non-negotiable. It is not a want to have. It is a have to have. And it's not just for the Iranian people. I think you have to trust the Iranian people. We know this government better than anyone else. When you dismember and decapitate this regime, you are going to see a change in the Middle East, in Venezuela, in China, in Ukraine. And I think, quite frankly, their ideology has really, it's caused a lot of problems for us worldwide. We need to take it seriously. And I think at this point we have a tremendous opportunity. This will be like ending the Soviet Union, the Berlin Wall. This is a transformational moment for humankind, for security. And as an American, this is in our interest to complete it. So
that is Moj Mardara, again, Democrat. She's a co-business owner with Gwyneth Paltrow. She is lock, stock, two-smoking barrel, a Democrat. But, folks, what she says next should let you know that rational people know that Democrats are way over their skis on this, and they're going to end up looking foolish.
I am a Democrat. I have been a huge Democrat. I am incredibly disappointed with my party. I do not see myself in them in this moment.
But they can't help themselves. They can't. They cannot help themselves. And as you heard, Moj said, you're immediately jumping on the whole I don't like Donald Trump thing, forgetting that there's nuance to this. There's nuance to all of this. And the knee-jerk reaction, Donald Trump did something, get the signs out. Look, even if the people who are funding this, even if the people who are in charge of the directive, and I don't care who it is, Soros, what's his name, Warren Buffett, the Ford Foundation, Koch brothers, I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is. Every one of those folks who are funding this to the tune of $290 million, they recognize one thing. They have the stupid people. They have the idiots. They've paid them off. They are motivated by money and their hatred of Donald Trump. They don't have to be told a thing. Do you know what you're protesting? Yes, hands off Iran. Do you know anything else? Do I need to know anything else? Take your sign and go. Imagine if one of those people said, I don't know, folks, this one doesn't seem right. I came in and I saw a bunch of Iranians in my neighborhood. They were celebrating. They were saying this is a good thing. Sir, do you have a problem? No, I don't have a problem. I'm just saying that I passed by a whole bunch of Iranians and they told me that, what Donald Trump did is a good thing for their people. And I was listening to, I'm sorry, what was that? You were listening to them? Yeah, I'm just saying, I don't know if I feel right, protesting for the people who oppress them. Aren't we against oppression? No, sir. We're against Donald Trump. So you want to take the sign and you want to fill out your timesheet or what? These people, they don't need thinkers. They need stupid. And again, we also have to consider this, right? Because you're saying, there's a lot of them, Reese. Well, there are. There's a lot of them. But they're not that many. I mean, the camera has a tendency to, give a crowd more volume than they actually are. I'm just looking at the WTNH coverage of the protest in Hartford. They wrote, and I quote, dozens of people Dozens? That could be 24 people. That's 2 dozen. What does that mean, dozens? Doesn't mean anything. It could have been 36 people out there. Dozens. I checked. There were 75. And I don't even think there were that many. I think many of the 75, if you take out the 9 that were there with the press, so like maybe 60. But they have the stupids. And the stupids are motivated by one thing. What do I have to do? Just walk around saying everything? What happens when you see every one of these people approached by these independent journalists? Why are you here? To stop Trump. What's Trump doing? He's going to war with Iran. And why are you here? Because that's wrong. They sound like Kamala Harris. You see, Iran is a big country, and Saudi Arabia is a small country. Don't be mad at me. That's why I got none of these people texted me, any of the leftists. They didn't text me because they know. Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. I was so gung-ho to go after Donald Trump on this, but look at, there's so many people who are so excited about this. They're so happy. This is my favorite one. Los Angeles, ABC News.
And here in Southern California, hundreds of Iranian Americans rallied and celebrated the deaths of Iran's supreme leader. Some who even said they were opposed to President Trump before are now praising his military action.
CNN.
Well, this gathering has only grown, Jessica, over the past few hours, since we've gotten here. It has amassed a large number of people, and the celebration is striking. We got here just moments after initial reports, initial rumors of the death of Ayatollah Khamenei had just started to trickle from Iran to this diaspora community, and people were jumping in excitement, hugging each other, crying, saying that basically they've been waiting 47 years for this very day, Jessica. It is the reason so many of them have come out here today. I want you to hear from one of them specifically, his thoughts right after learning that the supreme leader of Iran was dead.
When is the last time you saw people in Israel and Iran dancing on the streets in excitement? And when is the last time you've ever heard of a country coming out and dancing because they're excited that foreign powers are attacking them?
When we come back, this may very well be the point that everybody's missing. Iran, Israel, the United States. Remember? Death to America. Death to Israel. There are people in crowds across the country holding all 3 flags in unity. This is not good for the stupid people. And it's too bad they're too stupid to realize it. We'll be back. It's Reese on the radio. Oh, okay. I'm just making sure. Okay, Pastor Dell is here. Pastor Dell. I was just talking about him behind the scene. Pastor Todd is here. We'll talk to him in a minute with regards to DCF and homeschooling and what is being called Section 5 of a new bill proposed by Martin Looney and others. We'll break all that down in a second. So before we left, we were talking about the insanity that was going on with these protests as it pertains to Iran. And there is a jubilation, of course, by the folks in Iran who are celebrating the regime change that is happening. And I want to go over a couple of things because someone asked me this, sent a message. And I didn't get a bunch of messages, but I got one message. And the one person who sent the message to me was asking, look, Reese, I know you're going to talk about this and everything, but what's going on with the so-called MAGA bros and the MAGA folks online talking about this isn't what they voted for? Donald Trump isn't keeping his quote-unquote MAGA promises and all that other stuff. Okay. This is just another thing that I have to keep reiterating, and I don't mean it to be disrespectful. So please just kind of take a deep breath and hear me out, okay? Because if this sounds harsh, it's not meant to be. It's just I'm trying to, I'm trying to shake you. I'm grabbing your shoulders. What I'm doing right now is grabbing your shoulders, and I am shaking you. And I'm going, wake up! Wake up! Listen, I don't care if it's Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder, Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn. I don't care who it is. Officer Tatum, Candace Owens, Thomas Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't care who it is in the so-called prominent MAGA crowd. What Donald Trump did in Iran had to be done. If you don't understand that and you think it's about something else, about what he said as a campaign promise versus what he's doing now, you're not understanding the nuance. Are you telling me that President Trump was never going to use the military during his tenure as president of the United States? That he was never going to preemptively or just strike a rogue nation that had been continuously attacking us, old and new? He was going to do nothing? That he was going to sit idly by while they took that money that was given to them by Democratic leadership, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, in the billions of dollars, while they used that money to finance terrorism across the world? That he wasn't supposed to strike, that he wasn't supposed to disarm them and their nuclear armament, that he wasn't supposed to do that he was supposed to sit idly by and just everybody pretend that it was a peaceful world? Was he also supposed to let China, Russia, the aforementioned Iran, and Brazil get together, form this BRICS coalition, where they were going to destabilize the Western and possibly the Eastern Hemisphere? They were going to do that with no response by the leader of the free world, as a growing faction of groups were infiltrating places like Cuba, Venezuela, maybe possibly Colombia. That everyone was supposed to sit by and say, don't want to tick off Ben Shapiro. Marjorie Taylor Greene may not like this. Either Donald Trump is going to be a decisive leader, or he's going to be led by people in the media. I think he chose wisely. We have to say, I like Ben Shapiro. I disagree with him here, and move on. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I like her and I love everything she done while she was in Congress. But here I disagree. Move on. That's all. They may have millions of people who follow them and listen to them. Do not take or make the assumption that every one of their listeners agree with them. It would be a foolish thing to suggest that their own listeners aren't smart enough to discern whether or not Donald Trump made a good decision or bad. You are under the impression that Ben Shapiro says, I hate this move, and every Ben Shapiroite is going, yes, Ben, we hate it too, like a bunch of mind-numb robots. People can nuance. Look, I talk about Rush Limbaugh all the time. I used to shout at my radio when I disagreed with Rush because he wasn't always right. He was right a lot, but he wasn't always right. A lot of my friends just said, you agree with everything Rush says. What are you, in my head? I don't always. I love Rush. He is my hero, but I didn't always agree. And I'm okay with that. It didn't mean that because Rush got something wrong or he said something that I disagree with that I said, that's it, I'm done with him. How dare he not agree with me? No. What you're doing is you're showing your hand. You're under the impression that because these people disagree with Donald Trump, that in some way the people who follow them also disagree. Isn't that a little silly? No. You have to look at it in this way. And the writing is on the wall. Ask yourself this question. A year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, hell, last Thursday, did you imagine seeing video of people in Washington, D.C. in a crowd doing the Trump dance while an Israeli flag, an Iran flag, and a U.S. flag was prominent all together? Yeah, that's right, folks. Before Friday, you would have never imagined that. But you got it today. Ben Shapiro wouldn't have guessed it. Thomas Massey wouldn't have guessed it. No one did. A lot of people think that they are in the minds, they are inside the skull of Donald Trump. They figure him out. I'm a Trumpian. I know what Trump thinks. I know why he thinks it. I know what he's doing. And usually what Trump does is does something completely off the rails, completely out of the character of these individuals. And guess what? You all go, I didn't see that coming. And instead of saying that, instead of just saying, I didn't see that coming, people go, I'm opposed to this. Who cares if you're opposed to it? I don't care. No one cares. Clearly, Trump didn't either. Clearly. Okay? Because them bombs came rumbling down, didn't they? Huh? The Ayatollah is dead, ain't he? Huh? Huh? 40-plus leaders all killed in one spot early in the morning. People woke up in the morning dead. So what? And with all due respect, I do have to pat myself on the back. Pardon me, I may break my arm. Pat myself on the back. On Friday, when we had Rob Vidaro here, wasn't it me who told you it was going to happen on Saturday? Didn't I? Didn't I warn you? I told you. He made the decision that Friday in the afternoon, sure enough, bombs over Baghdad by morning. The point is, folks, this was going to happen. It had to happen. It had to happen, and everybody knew it had to happen. May I? Stand by for a second. First, let's address all the MAGA folks who said, this is not the MAGA I signed up for. Scott Jennings, CNN.
This is not what we thought MAGA was supposed to be. Congressman Thomas Massey also writing, this is not America first. Do they have a point?
No, they don't have a point, and I don't consider them to be actual Republicans, and I don't consider them to be part of the America First or MAGA movement, to be honest with you. They are basically allied against Donald Trump on everything, whether it's foreign affairs or domestic policy. They've just become political enemies of the President of the United States, no matter what he does, and that's unfortunate, but she quit, and he's about to lose in a primary in Kentucky, so that'll be the end of that.
Yeah, that'll be the end of that. That's all a wrap. Folks, Donnie Deutsch of MS Now. I'm going to do it when we return. They're not the only ones, folks. Even people on the left are going, good move, Donald Trump. That's why I'm saying, folks, don't listen to this nonsense. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views, and we'll play all of that interesting audio when we return. Stand by. It's Reese on the radio.
It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Chilling out with Pastor Todd. He'll be on in a second. We'll talk about homeschooling with him. And, of course, talk about our little quid pro quo. You know, he's on the program. He's baptizing me next Sunday. You know, it's a little trade-off that we're doing here. You know, he saves me. I promote whatever he's talking about, so we'll do all that in a little bit. By the way, for those of you, don't freak out. That was completely humor, tongue-in-cheek. Everything's got to be so serious with these people. Anyway, my point, I want to play this audio real quick if you're just joining us. This is a lot of stuff we need to go over. Donnie Deutsch, MS Now on Morning Joke with Joe Scarborough. He was on his own time going after the protesters.
There's protests about the Iranian bombing springing up all over the country. There's one in New York City today in Times Square. And I have a question for all the protesters. What is it exactly that you're protesting? Are you protesting taking out a regime that hates everything Western civilization stands for, that wants to see us dead, that wants to see Jews dead, hates everything we're about? Are you protesting a regime that is the central nervous system for all terror in the Middle East and has been responsible for the killings of countless lives? Are you protesting a regime that if they had a nuclear weapon would make the world a dramatically more dangerous place? Are you protesting a regime that killed 30,000 of their own people? Oh, wait a second. You didn't protest that. 30,000 of their own innocent people killed over the last few weeks simply because these people were protesting and wanted to be free. Yet you weren't protesting that, but you're protesting this. Might want to get your protest strategy in line.
Which is, again, back to my earlier point. And that is, what are the protesters saying here in the U.S.? That Donald Trump is an authoritarian who wishes to kill people who are opposed to him. Then you have an actual regime in Iran that does that and kills 30,000 people in the street. And you side with the guy doing the killing. This is not hypocrisy. I know it's easy for people to go there. They say, it's like, oh, this is the hypocrisy of the left. No. Stop giving these people a pass. This is what stupid people do. And people don't understand. Stupid is not what you think it is. It's not duh. It's not that. Only a stupid person could not see that. Okay? Only an irrational, stupid person could be talking about what clearly doesn't happen in the United States, a place where Iranians ran to from an authoritarian regime, and protest for the authoritarian regime in the United States. It is nonsense, stupid, dumb rhetoric. It's cult-like. I mean, what are you going to say? It's cult. When you can't see the rationale and when you refuse to, and you say it's the others that are brainwashed, it's got to be stupidity. And you have to just accept that. I know it's a mean thing to say, but what else is there? What else is there? Because those people have to be set free. There's 90 million of them. At what point do you get on the so-called right side of history? The time is now. And if you won't, hey, that's fine. We don't need you. There's a million Iranians who are taking to the streets celebrating their liberation. No one needs you. They have themselves. Let's get our first check of traffic and weather. Tom O'Hanlon. He's in for Mark Christopher. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we're back. Reese on the radio. Pastor Todd is here. And it's all right if I put your last name in here, right? I can say Todd Williams, right? Okay. Yeah. Pastor Todd Williams is here. I already put it there, so it's like, I don't know if you're like running from the feds or anything. There has been some pastors I know. No, I'm kidding. Pastor Todd is he is the pastor. He is what would he call you? Lead pastor?
Yeah.
Okay, lead pastor of the Bridge Community Church in Bristol. That's right. And my pastor, I will say, and thank you for welcoming myself and Roseanne to your church. It has been a blast. I've only got like a minute and a half before I go back into weather and traffic, but I want to let everybody know you're here and tell everybody. Did you tell everybody from the church that you were going to be here?
I didn't know until a couple hours ago. So yeah, I am going to send them the link, though.
Please do.
I will.
So I want to talk to you about what you want to talk about, but I'm also going to, sort of pick your brain about the church. And your sermon, in fact, this weekend was absolutely, it was brilliant, and it affected Roseanne in so many ways. And it's weird because something that I preach all the time is there's no such thing as coincidences. Every time something personal happens in my life, usually when I end up in service in some way, that the thing that I was worried about or concerned about happens in church. And you don't know this, so I'm going to kind of surprise you. You were talking about a friend of yours who were having a conversation with about his family member and talking about carrying that cross. I want to talk to you a little bit about that because I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine and his wife, and she had mentioned the exact same thing on Friday night. And then for you to have a sermon about it blew my mind. Wow. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that. Pastor Todd Williams from the Bridge Community Church is here. We'll talk to him about homeschooling and his fight. Oh, this fight is big. We'll get into it in a minute. Let's get another check of weather and traffic. In for Mark Christopher is Tom O'Hanlon. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
By the way, Pastor Todd, if you can't hear very well, there is a dial underneath there if you need to make it any louder. You okay?
Yeah, I'm
You're
great.
perfect? Okay.
Thank
Pastor
you.
Todd Williams is here. I'm going to give him a round of applause. And thank you for being my spiritual leader. It means a great deal to me. You are you have a very relatable approach to your sermons and just everything about the church. And obviously you were born into this, and you do it very naturally. Even sometimes I'm awestruck by you when you're out there. So I want to thank you for being a part of the program today. Let me ask you a quick question, just a little bit of housekeeping, because you are my spiritual leader. Okay. My wife lied to me today.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, and you know Roseanne. So I was missing this chain, which is my sober chain.
Okay.
And she knew where it was while I was looking for it this morning, because the reason why she hid it from me was because she went to go get me this crucifix today. She just delivered it to me before the show. Now, is it okay for your wife to lie to you if she does something this grand? Is this okay? Is this like a good white lie as our spiritual leader, Pastor Todd? Is she allowed to lie in this way?
Can I plead the fifth?
Yeah, I guess you can. I guess you can. That's an admission if I heard one. That is an admission if I ever heard one.
It's interesting, though. In Egypt, Pharaoh told the midwives to let them know whenever a boy was born so he could send his soldiers to kill the baby boy.
Right.
And the midwives would lie about it. And God blessed them because the lie was to preserve life.
Okay.
So
fine.
I don't know.
I don't think that's on the same level. But I get it. It's a good point. Pastor Todd, I really, thank you for asking, for me to bring attention to this, but I figured I couldn't do it justice. This is something that is in your wheelhouse because the text message we had this morning, you were talking about your own experience with homeschooling. You have been homeschooled back in 1984. That's right. That was back in the day when I thought homeschooling kids were like children of the corn. Like you guys were the weirdos. How do you know how to socialize with people? You're not even in that environment. How old, in 1984, how old were you? I was 15.
I was 6 years old.
Good. Okay. You're much younger than me. Oh, wow. Anyway, that being said.
I look old.
Yeah, I didn't know you were that much younger. So you were homeschooled. Your parents decided. Now, you weren't the reason why you were homeschooled. It was your brother. But your parents said, well, heck, if we're going to homeschool one, let's homeschool them both. Was that the idea?
At least that's what I like to tell my brother.
Okay.
No, what that is. My brother spent 2 years in second grade and still didn't know how to read.
Wow.
And my parents were like, something's got to get fixed here.
Yeah.
And so they brought him home. 6 months later, he was reading really well. Mm-hmm. He's now got a great job. He's kind of in the top end of his field, both positionally and with his paycheck. He's doing great. He's a smart guy. He just learned differently.
Right.
And school wasn't working for him.
And your parents did.
Yeah.
And was this, by the way, was this a both parent effort or just your mom or?
No, my mom and my dad was also a pastor.
Okay.
And he would engage on a lot of things, but mostly my mom.
Okay. Mostly your mom. And you did homeschooling because you're born and bred here in Connecticut,
That's
right?
That's
okay.
right.
So it was right here in Connecticut.
I grew up listening to WTIC.
Yeah, look at that. Your dad's a smart man. So you are concerned in particular about this bill with homeschooling. You homeschool your own kids. Who is the primary teacher there?
Mostly my wife.
But mostly your wife.
You know, my oldest daughter, who you know, Savannah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
She's 21. Mm-hmm. She graduated with a bachelor's degree at 17 from a Connecticut state school, Charter Oak State College.
Mm-hmm.
And she, in this summer, she has a 4.0 average. She'll have a master's degree in psychology at 21 years old.
Wow.
My son Sterling also graduated from Charter Oak State College at 17, and he's at a ministry school in Pennsylvania. I mean, our reasons to homeschool was different from my parents.
Right.
My wife also was taught at home, and because her parents were able to go to an international children's home and take her overseas. She learned a second language. She learned a second culture, and it so benefited her life.
Right.
And so there's lots of different reasons why people might teach their kids at home.
Right. But this particular problem that you have is what's called, I guess it's called SB 6, yes. But Section 5's proposal is your biggest problem with this. And here, after finding out what it is, will blow everybody's mind because it is the most ridiculous part of this entire bill. Break it down for us, if you can.
And a lot of it is from the horrible case in Waterbury of a 32-year-old man who, from the time he was 12, was locked in a room.
Yeah.
And
everybody here knows that case well. We covered it extensively.
Okay. And then the other case in New Britain.
Yes, with Mimi.
That's right. So, and listen, everybody I know, that was evil. What happened in Waterbury, New Britain, that was evil. And everyone wants children to be protected. And of course we do. And I do. I love kids. I met my wife at a children's home. I love kids. My concern is that Section 5 of SB 6 requires everybody who withdraws a child from public school, it requires that superintendent to notify the Department of Education in Connecticut, who then are required, if this law gets passed, to notify DCF, who will open a case file on that child. There's around 500,000 kids in school in Connecticut. If 5 to 10% of them withdraw, which is the norm, actually, whether it's Catholic school, parochial school, private school, homeschool, medical reasons, or just moving from one town to another town.
Yeah.
And so they withdraw from the one town to re-enroll them in the other town. That's going to be 25 to 50,000 case files that DCF has to create. And here's my thing, is if that boy in Waterbury and if Mimi in New Britain are the needle, then what this will do is create basically a massive haystack of paperwork that DCF caseworkers who are already overworked, I mean, a lot of them are great people, but even they would say that if their caseload was reduced, they would probably be able to do a much better job.
It's one of the biggest problems with DCF and the biggest complaints from DCF. Yes. The leadership says their biggest problem is the fact that they have case overruns. There are so many children who have to be in sort of DCF's care because of obvious reasons, drug abuse, neglect, the usuals, the runaways. All of that stuff. They're inundated with that. Even in a state like Connecticut, they're overrun. And we've seen kids die because of it. So now, if you're right, we're going to throw another, 25,000 kids into the DCF mix?
Everybody who has to withdraw from public school. And not that they'll investigate every one, but now there's a file.
But there's a file. But you know what that's done for? That's a deterrent.
Right.
That's the whole idea. It's like if you really are fed up with the with the school system and you want to pull out your child, I hate to make this comparison, but remember when people used to be so upset when they wanted to pass a bill about abortion rights, where someone said, when everybody should sort of get a sonogram before you had the abortion, everybody said that was invasive. Imagine you telling people, hey, you want to pull your kid out of school because you think the school is bad? Well, they have to open up a DCF file on you in order for you to do it. And the parent is going, DCF file? That immediately means I'm going to be interrogated or I'm going to be investigated.
Exactly. It would have discouraged my parents in 1984, and I don't know where my brother would be today.
Yeah.
And it would discourage people today, and maybe that's on purpose. But my concern would be we don't always have cookie-cutter solutions, and some parents want to send their kids to parochial school or teach them at home. And my further concern would be the kids who are highly at risk, it doesn't do them a service by overwhelming DCF. If DCF is supposed to be the safety net,
right?
How does it help them by stretching that safety net thin? That doesn't strengthen them.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
But it makes the objective here whether they know it or not, is to, I mean, a DCF case, or a file for that matter, makes parents feel criminalized.
Right.
I mean, that's what it's for. DCF doesn't, I mean, I'm sorry, folks. I mean, people can say, it's like, well, DCF, it's about the children. Not particularly, because the association that DCF has, if you think about it, and if we're using the norms, it's always going to be associated with S in Waterbury. That's the young man that you just, and Mimi Torres.
That's right.
That's who it's going to be associated with. So you as a parent, you're going to feel like you are Carla and Jonathan Nietes in this case once you get a DCF file on you. And should something happen, and here's the interesting part, should something happen with your child while they are in your care, let's say your child gets injured at home, there's a DCF file on there, because then it's immediately treated like a criminal case. The kid falls down. Maybe the kid burns themselves. Maybe the kid, is playing outside and, gets a rusty nail in the foot. An open DCF file means I have to have a 6-month-long investigation into a kid doing regular stuff. And it's not like we haven't seen stuff like that. We just had on, Don Matos is a regular citizen here who got involved with this huge case. It was written up in People magazine, where this couple was on vacation. He was I think is a naval officer, but they were traveling on vacation, and their 2 children were with them. And the father was changing the diaper of one of the children and putting on the onesie, and a bone snapped. Turns out that the children had a disease that the mother and the grandmother have with brittle bones.
Yes.
And that DCF investigation, all it did was the mother go to the hospital to go make sure the baby was okay. DCF ended up getting involved. It took that family 500 days to get custody back.
Wow.
So, and that's because of DCF not even considering the medical history, which would have explained the brittle bones of that, in the fact that these parents were not trying to harm their children.
Right.
So, this is the kind of stuff that will create the problem and not solve it. But I think that's kind of, do you believe that that's the intention of this, is to deter homeschooling? Because as a homeschooler, a lot of parents feel like this is a little bit of government overreach, and they feel like it's punishment for not having faith in the public school system.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of homeschoolers, I don't want to speak for them, but I think a lot of them do feel that way. And
how about yourself, though?
Somehow feeling like we're the bad people because we make this choice, when we know, like, I know hundreds, maybe even thousands of homeschooling families. They're just like me. They're great parents who are involved in their community, involved in their neighborhoods, who love kids.
Yeah.
Parental involvement is not the problem. Families having choice for their education of their children is not the problem. What I think we need is to find a way to empower DCF to work through those weeds, like the story you just told me, or the hay, but not pile more of a haystack to find the needles. They have to find those needles and then engage there.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because that amount of hay, as you describe it, we know what happens when DCF is already inundated. We've had baby.
The Waterbury case, they were told several times.
Yeah.
Several times they were notified. So notification wasn't the failure.
Clearly.
They were told.
Yeah.
Same with, they did an interview in the Mimi's case in New Britain. They did an interview with Mimi. Yeah. Only it turned out it wasn't Mimi. It
20-year-old girl.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but again, notification happened.
Right.
They knew about those cases.
Right. But you know what is so wild about that? The Mimi Torres case with the video conference, you know what's so telling about that?
Yeah.
Is the fact that this is an organization that is inundated, and to sort of, let's just be somewhat efficient, right? Or try to sort of cut corners. They did a video conference with the girl they believed was an 11-year-old, turned out to be a 20-year-old, in what they believed was Hampton, Virginia, which turned out to be Hartford, where she was. And they closed the case by asking the 20-year-old, how are you liking it in Virginia? Have you made any friends? Case closed.
I know.
So, they closed the case, and the girl was already dead. And again, this was a case that they had already moved on from. The child is dead. So, it really, really brings home your point. By piling on more into what we can already see is an organization that is cutting corners to cover its caseload,
right?
What would we be doing by adding another 25,000 families to this? Forget about it. We're going to see more dead kids.
We'll have to, yeah, I think so. More, that's the thing. More slip-ups will happen.
We're going to see more dead kids. I know that's not you, but look, we've seen the result of this, okay? Yeah. We've seen the result of this.
And the only solution to that, then, is just hiring a bunch more caseworkers.
Yeah.
And we have the budget for that here in Connecticut,
sure.
don't we? Yeah, we have plenty.
Yeah, but even with that, even with that budget, I keep wondering, like, exactly what that training is going to look like. It's insane and it's crazy, but again, this is what I've always called the unmitigated gall of an intrusive government. Yeah. And it's astonishing knowing that this stuff is going to go off the rails. You're going to a hearing today.
Tomorrow.
Or is it tomorrow? Okay. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about that. And then, I just want to kind of just spar with you a little bit and just talk about faith and talk about my my relationship with you, just if I could for a little bit. Just hang out for a bit. Pastor Todd Williams of the Bridge Community Church, my pastor, is in the house. We'll talk to him a little bit more. Let's get another check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher's out, so we've got Todd O'Hanlon, right? It's Tom O'Hanlon. It's Tom O'Hanlon. Why would I forget that? Tom O'Hanlon is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
We're back. It's Reese on the radio here with Pastor Todd Williams of the Bridge Community Church. We'll continue to talk to him about a whole bunch of stuff. We'll talk about my being baptized. It's going to be a lot for me to take in. I've never done it this way. I'll tell the story again about my sort of baptismal and Catholic church when I was a kid, which is interesting. I want to read what Joseph wrote here in the chat room. Joseph V says, is Tom O'Hanlon AI? They don't believe that Tom O'Hanlon is real, Roland. Can you please tell Tom O'Hanlon to address that during his next traffic break? They don't believe Tom O'Hanlon is real. They believe he is AI generated. No, he is real. I've seen his picture. I've not met him personally, but he is a person. In fact, Roland, he has a bit. He did a whole, Reese on the radio tag for us. So he's a real person, Joseph V. I promise.
Maybe the photo was AI generated.
Maybe. Could possibly be. He doesn't look like himself. I will tell you that. I totally tell you he doesn't look like that. Pastor Will, in less than 2 minutes before we get back to Tom O'Hanlon, Pastor Tom, what did I say? Pastor Tom? Pastor Will. Good. Big shout out, Pastor Will. There's so many pastors in my life. Pastor Todd. So we're going to be doing this as a submersive, right? It's a submersive baptism.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm supposed to bring a change of clothes to this thing?
That's right. You're going to be fully dunked.
Fully dunked? So I'm just going to be wearing a T-shirt and my clothes. I'm assuming no shoes, no socks. I'm going to go in. You get to see my very, very gnarly feet. That's going to be amazing. Do you or someone with you will dunk me? Because I'm a big guy.
I'll do it. If we need help, we'll get help. But you'll be fine.
I'll be fine. Okay. So, and it's just a submersive, and I go down for a second.
We have 2 sets of steps. You'll come down. You'll share your story, whatever you want to share.
Yeah.
I'll ask you, do you affirm and believe that Jesus Christ died and rose again for you, and you invite him into your life? When you say yes, I am hearing your testimony of your faith in Jesus Christ. I baptize you in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. I'll put you down in the water and then bring you back up, and then you'll walk up the other stairs.
Right. And then you say that it's important that I hold my nose because I go backwards and the water is definitely going to go up.
If you don't, I'll grab it for you.
Okay. Well, let me tell you the reason why that's important is because I can't do the whole, like people who underwater who can do somersaults inside the water. I can't because I'm dizzy. I get dizzy very easily, so I'm concerned. I don't want to have to do it.
We could go straight down.
Can we?
Yeah, we can go straight down.
All right, then we may have to go straight down.
Down on your knees and in, and that'll be fine.
Okay,
that'll be fine.
Well, don't forget, I'm kind of tall. Is the thing really big?
It is, yeah.
Okay, it's like a big...
Yeah.
Do you guys use it as a dunking pool afterwards? No, I'm kidding.
It could be.
It could be. It's that big?
It's probably 4 feet deep. It's pretty big.
Okay, all right. We'll come back. Pastor Todd Williams is here. Let's get to Tom O'Hanlon in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we're back and we're live. We are with Pastor Todd Williams of the Bridge Community Church. And whenever I tell people to come into town, no matter if they come far or close by, I always like keeping them here at least for an hour on the program because, we can talk about the stuff we're talking about, but I want people to get to know you. Have you ever been on WTIC? Is this the first time?
Never. Like I said, I listened to him a lot in the 90s, Rush Limbaugh and Bruce and Colin, but I've never been here, so this is really awesome.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to bring you in here. So as my pastor, and you've been absolutely fantastic. I spoke at the church last week. You gave me an opportunity. You put a microphone in front of my hands. Weirdly enough, the first time I was ever that nervous.
Wow.
And I do public speaking all the time. And not just on the radio. I do public speaking all the time, and I never get nervous. For some odd reason in that room, I was really nervous, overwhelmed.
I do public speaking also. I was nervous sitting here.
Really?
And now it's gone. It's gone. But the first 5 minutes, I felt nervous.
Yeah. So you have a very sort of common approach to the Bible. You're very sort of relatable. The pews are always filled. I love that. But I have to ask you this just because of the place that we are, not just politically, but I think spiritually. You mentioned this a little bit in the beginning of your sermon on Sunday. And you were talking about the fact that, there's so many people there. In fact, it was during Bible study when we were preparing and you were talking about the fact that you love so many people who are showing up at the church. And you've even got, the balconies filling up now. There is this resurgence or this return to faith. Did this happen at the church? Was there a time when it was not empty pews, but was it, it's kind of scattered where you saw that started to grow? Did you experience that at the Bridge Community Church?
Yeah, absolutely. 10, 11 years ago, I was pastoring next town over, Wolcott, Connecticut, in a house church it was my grandfather's house. And we kind of outgrew our building, and we were looking for something bigger. And about 11 years ago, I drove by that building, and I saw a for sale sign. I knocked on the door. A very old lady answered, and I said, well, I'm interested. And she's like, well, you'll have to wait till a trustee comes. I'll call one. I'm like, okay, I'll wait. She calls, and she seems so familiar. And I'm like, how do I know you? And we're talking, finally found out when I was 10, I was her paper boy. And you said there's no such thing as coincidence.
No such thing. No such thing.
And so I was her paper boy. And she's like, oh, I remember you. I was her paper boy like 3 or 4 years. She said, I always liked you. What if instead of selling you the church, because we don't have a pastor, what if we gave you the church and you be our pastor too? And we thought, well, eventually we said, well, let's try it. We'll rent before we buy.
Yeah.
And so we because it could be a disaster, you know?
Sure.
But it was so amazing. God was in it. Both sides unanimously voted and separately, separate votes. Both churches voted that we should join and be one church. So then we had to create a new name. And Bridge just made sense because we're bridging together. Since then, 2 other churches have joined us, and we're 4 churches that have united together to say, how do we serve Bristol? How do we be the hands and feet of Jesus? How can we fulfill the mission here in Bristol and the surrounding towns? And we've been growing.
It is. Every day I get there, I say to myself, because we usually get there pretty early, and I'll say to myself, it's a smaller crowd today. And then right before... who is it? Who's the young man who always gets up? He's just had an amazing. I'm sorry,
Craig.
Craig, yes, an amazing story, and so happy for Craig. If you are listening, God bless you, my friend. I'll tell Craig's story in a minute. But he, when he gets up to speak, before he always does in the beginning, I love the fact that every week he comes up and he tells a personal story in particular. But when he starts off. Right when he starts off, I start looking into the crowd because I know we were about to start. I'll look and go in the beginning. It doesn't seem like a lot of people today. Then I'll look as soon as Craig starts. I'm like, hey, what happened? Place is packed.
Yeah.
And it's every week, and I'm loving that. As I talk to everybody, they go, people are returning to faith in overwhelming numbers. It is great to see it. I'm in your church. I would have never imagined, and Roseanne comes home from Virginia and she says, I need to go to church. Craig, who works in the other Craig, Principal Craig, as I call him. He was the one who sent me the email the day before Roseanne got home from Virginia and said, hey, if you want to go to church, come by the Bridge Church. Roseanne gets in my car the next day and says, I want to go to church. I said, no problem. I've got one. I didn't even tell her I have one. And we drove to that church and went to go see Craig, and we've been there ever since.
That's what I love. I think I told you, I do a horrible job at advertising.
Yes, you do.
I do. Our church is growing because the people who go tell their friends, tell the people they're meeting, and say, you got to come and check it out. And they come and they check it out and they love it.
It is a church of attraction without a doubt. Yeah. And it's all walks of life. Everyone is so pleasant, so nice, and diverse in the sense of you can see that it's all walks of life.
Absolutely.
Another thing that you folks do is that you've extended this to help people who are in need. Everything from homeless to holding meetings. We're going to start an AA meeting on Wednesdays. You have an NA meeting there. There's so much other stuff that's going on there. And one of the first things I learned about you, Pastor Todd, was that, one, you operate like a family, but you extend that charitable work to everything. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And I know it's because you worked in so many other facets, missions and stuff like that. What was because you had all the room, let's just open it up to everybody?
Well, we wanted to be good stewards of the building. It's a great building in a great area of town. There was some folks in our area who are unhoused. And in the winter, especially, it's like, well, what can we do about that? Mm-hmm. And so 20 to 30 people spend the night at our church every night in the winter. Another ministry called Agape House saw, well, what can we do about the needs? And so we said, well, you can use our space. And, we made that space for them. And they feed 80 people every day on average, over 200 people a week, and just do an amazing job. And then, other different organizations like what you and Roseanne will do Wednesday. Yeah. And we're like, well, hey, the building's empty.
Yeah.
Let's let the people use it, especially if it's fitting our mission of helping people with addiction or whatever it is. If it's blessing and benefiting the community, then we want to be a part of it if we can. Support it in any way.
You guys, you did. You guys were absolutely open arms with us and just said, tell us what you want. We'll get you what you need. And you have it's been an amazing sort of relationship that we have built with you folks. We come every Sunday. We're not going to be those sort of high holiday churchgoers anymore. We're going to make sure that you are a part of our,
I'm fine with that too, because Easter and Christmas, people are seeking the Lord at that point. They want to know Jesus, about his birth, about his death and resurrection. Hey, come. Yeah, we're fine with that.
Can you explain something to me that I haven't been able to figure out? It's some housekeeping.
Okay.
You still have Christmas decorations up in the church. Why is that?
Our decorating crew repurposes it for Valentine's Day, and now they're going to meet in the next week or two and do the whole spring Easter thing.
So are you telling me the Christmas decorations are coming down?
Soon.
Is there a reason why they haven't?
Soon and very
I'm
soon.
not going to listen, I have to be honest with you. I walk into church every Sunday and I see joy up on the top and I see the Christmas trees there, and I feel like it's weird because I had a neighbor who wouldn't put down his outdoor lights. He wouldn't take them down in May. It was driving me nuts. And I'm going, why wasn't Pastor put these things down?
They will come down. Actually,
do you need volunteers?
Maybe not for that. I don't know. Probably not for that. But what I love is I do my thing, which you know what I do, and that's my deal. And I don't micromanage everybody else. We're a church where everybody does their thing, and we celebrate it.
Yes, that's true. I mean, it does, don't get me wrong. I've gotten used to it, but it does kind of feel out of place in a lot of ways. I'm like, wow, they really celebrate the Lord here. It's like they are all over his birth. I guess he's just born every season now. So I thought that was the kind of the reason why.
I think, and this is going back to something he said earlier.
Yeah.
You know, I play the piano, and I play it pretty well.
Very well.
What if my parents never saw that I had that gift? I'd be 48 years old, and I'd have this gnawing feeling inside of me that I'm really good at something. I don't know what I'm good at. Mm-hmm. And it'd be piano. And what if I found out at 48, it's too late for me to get as good as I am? Because I'd just be too old.
Okay.
I think a lot of people have a feeling inside of them that something is missing in their life.
Mm.
And what if it's something spiritual? I mean, our culture is so good about physical advancement, sports and gymnastics and all these things, and mental and academic engagement and school and education, and that's all great. Relational engagement, emotional engagement, we're doing more than we've ever done in those areas. Mm-hmm. But what if a lot of people feel spiritually empty?
Yeah.
And what if that's something that they're starting to look for and say, maybe that's the thing?
Yeah. Because all this other stuff isn't making them happy.
It's not.
And, you know, the interesting thing, I don't think I spent a lot of my life never being able to say I was happy. When I was a kid, people used to say, Reese, are you happy? And I'm like, what am I, 7? I'm a grown-up. Grown-up people don't get happy. And I used to say that, but I used to say that really, you know, angrily.
Right.
And it started when I got sober, and then as I started to come to your church, I was really starting to reflect on my happiness. It's not a childish thing to be happy. Everyone deserves to have that, and at least be able to experience it in a way that you want it so much that even when the bad stuff happens, you have not a happy place, but you have happiness to return to. Yeah. It doesn't matter that this stuff is bad. You have your church, you have your community, you have your spouse, you have your children. Right. All of those things can be sort of that guard, that, you know, that bubble, if you will, that you can go to when the rest of the world is hammering you. You have a so-called real life happy place to go to.
Faith, hope, and love. The Apostle Paul said in the great chapter of 1 Corinthians 13 on love, you know, where love is patient, love is kind, all these. He says faith, and hope, and love. Those are the 3 things that remain. And when we learn in our spirit about faith and believing in a God who loves us deeply and profoundly, so much that he sent Jesus to die for us, and we have this hope that the choices I make today can affect my future and the future of other people as well. And we have this sense of great love that God loves us. And then because we're loved, we're able to love others. And what we freely receive, we are able to freely give.
Yeah.
And it's so powerful. The power of love is like off the charts to transform people's lives and transform culture. I mean, what if all of the world did the simple 2 commands that Jesus said was the greatest, to love God with all their heart, soul, strength, and mind, love their neighbor as themselves? If all the world just did those 2 things, wouldn't this world be amazing?
Yeah,
it'd be amazing. It'd be heaven on earth. And that's what I think people are longing for. And what I love to talk about is how to access the things of the Spirit and then release them in your home, in your work, in your relationships. So love and joy and peace and hope and faith and these things that are so powerful. We can access this. We can release it. God wants to give it to us. He loves us. He wants to give us these things. He's willing to. He will. And then we get to be used by him to give those things away. And the funny thing is if I give you $100, I have $100 less. But if I give you joy, I actually keep all my joy. And somehow, amazingly, I have more joy.
Yeah.
When I give you love, I have more love. And so it's really wild in the economy of heaven that what you give away actually increases.
Yeah, it multiplies it.
It does. It multiplies it.
Yeah.
So cool.
You have the greatest line ever, and I sort of joshed with you in my speech on last Sunday, not this Sunday, but the Sunday before. I said it was 2 sermons in a row where you were preaching the most important thing that I learned, and I love it, is that we have to recognize that God loves us just as much as he loved those in the Bible.
That's right.
Do you want to know why I know that's so relevant to me? Is because that's, in my view, that is the departure between people of today and the Bible. They treat that book like God's love was only to those people in the book, and it doesn't apply to them. That love, like in order for them to be loved the way God loved people in the Bible, they had to be in the Bible. That isn't true. And you keep reiterating that. You keep telling us, God loves us just as much as he loved Luke, loves us just as much as he loves Philip, just as much as he loved everyone in that Bible. And I love that message because I'm energized by it.
It changes a person when they will say and really believe that, refusing to believe that God loved them more than he loves me. No, refusing to believe that he's willing to do miracles then, but he's not willing or able to do them now. That's not, he is. He absolutely loves us. He deeply and profoundly loves me, no matter what I've said or done. Reese, he deeply, profoundly loves you, no matter what you've said or done, because that's who he is. I have 5 kids, and if one of them tragically were to die, and I have another child, my love for that new child doesn't replace my love for the child who died. Of course it can't. But that love for the new child is still very real.
Yeah.
And the thing is, God loves you individually. No one can replace his love for you. And no one can replace your love for God. Only you can give him that love. It's so real, it's so personal, and it's so deeply profound and transformational.
Pastor Todd Williams of the Bridge Community Church, you were a darn good choice by us. Darn good. I love you being here, and I'll see you on Sunday for the Dunkin'.
Well, I'll see you Wednesday for your meeting.
That's right, Wednesday. That's right, we'll be there. Let's get another check of weather and traffic. In for Mark Christopher is Tom O'Hanlon.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right. News. In music news today, folks, we have got a doozy for you. Celebrating birthdays today is John Bon Jovi, who turned 64. Chris Martin, the lead singer of the group Coldplay, is 49. Goodness gracious. Luke Combs, not to be confused with Sean Puffy Combs, is 36 years old. I don't know who Becky G is, so we don't care. James Arthur, who's a pop singer, is 38. He's from the UK. X Factor. Nobody knows who he is. And big ups to my man, Tikal. Method Man of the Wu-Tang Clan is 55 today. Notable anniversaries. We've got the 50th anniversary of the musical revenue Bubbling Brown Sugar, featuring songs from the Harlem Renaissance. 60th anniversary in 1966. This is crazy, folks. No major music events were recorded in 1966, 60 years ago. It's the 43rd anniversary of the first CD players being released. That's wild. 43 years ago today, along with 16 initial albums on the CD format. I may have to look up which albums they were. 52nd anniversary of Stevie Wonder winning 4 Grammys, including Album of the Year for Inner Visions. And, that's pretty much it in your music news. Now, listen, when we return, I want to talk about the 23-year-old police officer who shot Stevie. And there's something that nobody paid attention to in the photo that is since gone viral. Stay tuned for that. I'll break it all down for you when we return. Let's get another check of weather and traffic. Tom O'Hanlon.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we're back this Monday, literally about to wrap it up. Wow, this day went fast. And we want to thank Pastor Todd Williams for being here. It's a pleasure to have him here. And thank you, Melody, for saying that. I try to have the best guest, and I'm glad you enjoyed Pastor Todd. I want to talk a little bit about this the shooting with Stevie and the officer who shot 9 times, according to Dave Mager and the IG report. I'll get to that in a second. Let me get to Bill real quick. How are you, Bill?
Good, thanks, Reese. Yourself?
I'm great, sir. What do you got?
I just wanted to agree with Pastor Todd when he was talking about his brother and learning differently.
Yes.
if Section 5 of this bill were enforced when I was going to school, my parents, there would have been a DCF filed three times over, because my brother and sister and I all were visually impaired and eventually went blind. And in the public school system we were in, we were floundering. So they withdrew us from the public school so that we could transfer to Oak Hill. But under the provisions of this section, in order to do that, there'd be a referral to DCS, and
wouldn't it be?
They'd have been knocking on my parents' door.
Yeah, the interesting part is that you said you said your brother and your sister and yourself, so it's 3 kids. We don't even know the gravity of what that would look like, because it would beg the question. You would have to open up 3 files with the 3 of you. You know what I mean? It's like there have to be a file for every kid in that scenario, which again. Think about even in Pastor Todd's situation. He's got 5 kids.
Yep.
Imagine all of them homeschooled. That's 5 more, which again makes this whole thing crazy. In what DC, I don't even understand. If Martin Looney is the one who's proposing this, the thing that I don't understand is, like, Martin, talk about being way out of your depth here.
Yeah. All of the extra cases that are going to be created if this goes through, it's going to take time away from cases that are currently open.
Exactly.
That the investigators don't have time. Don't have enough time to do the cases justice that they have.
Indeed. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate that, man, and good luck to you. Okay.
Thanks. I'll talk to you soon.
You got it. Yeah, he such a good point. If it had been Pastor Todd or Bill in that case, if you had taken both of those families, Todd and Bill's family, and if we're talking about the same timeline, that is, right? That alone, that's 8 cases. Right off the bat, somebody had texted me and said that it's about a good 17 extra cases per agent that they would be taking on if homeschooling was a part of that. It's absolutely insane. Oh, are you? Okay, that's nice. Thank you. A friend of mine just said he's coming to my baptism. Thank you, Dana. I appreciate that. I want to talk about this police officer. I think he's 23 years old, 2 years on the job, who fires his weapon, shooting Stevie, who's now in critical condition. And I want you to think about this, folks. I have made a lot of hay about the shooting that happened in Newport News, Virginia. Do you guys remember that story? 6-year-old grabbed his mother's gun, took it to school, hid it, showed it to a student. Student told an administrator. The kid takes the gun out of the backpack, hides it. When the administrator gets to the backpack, gun's gone. Kid finds the gun, goes into the classroom, shoots Abigail Zwerner, a 6-year-old. Remember, same kid in kindergarten, put a kindergarten teacher in the chokehold, in the sleeper, try to go to sleep, 6-year-old. Now, when this 6-year-old child shot his first grade teacher, guess what the kid didn't do? The kid did not put his hands on his head and go and give the impression, oh my goodness, I can't believe I had to shoot her. Never once. No. What did the 6-year-old say? When the 6-year-old was met inside the room, when they finally wrestled the kid and put him in another room, the administrator walked in and the kid said, and I quote, yeah, son, I killed that bee. 6-year-old said that. In the inner city in Hartford, in the inner city, in Bristol, in the inner city, New Haven, inner city, Bridgeport, after one of these gang-banging savages shoots one of the people in the street. You ever seen anyone in the street? Yo, I just shot the homie. Yo, I can't believe it. Yo, I had to shoot the homie. No. These savages are bragging about it. They go home and get in their homemade studio in the basement, and then they rap about it. Yo, son, I had to put a hot one in them. Never once have I seen one of the homies, yo, I can't believe it, son. Yo, he made me do it. I can't believe. No. But this young man, in a picture that has gone viral, shows the officer with his hands on his head. Obviously distraught that he had to shoot a man. Why am I displaying it this way? Why am I explaining it this way? Because if you listen to all of the rabble-rousers, the talk about nothings, they will tell you that the police officer was out of control. The police is out of control. They're just out there to kill people. Compared to what? Compared to the little savages who running around shooting somebody, killing a bystander, then bragging about it on some mixtape? Is that what the police officer did in this case? No. Do you know anything about how distraught he was or is? No. All the armchair quarterbacks, they looked at that picture and you didn't, and once in your head, look at that and just go, yeah, man, why does he look like that? He looks awfully upset. I mean, really, what should he been looking like? What visual should have been after the shooting? Should he have been thrown up there going, yeah, son, knock them off? Should he have been back? Should he have been posing for the camera like the savages do, who were happy to put a hot one in the ops? No, he wasn't looking like that. No, he was like, oh my goodness, completely distraught. So that narrative about, oh, the police are just here to kill you, really? Because he looks like he was excited about what he had to do. He looks like somebody who couldn't wait. That's exactly what they're supposed to look like. Hands on the head. Hands on the head, looking down, completely realizing that his life has changed forever. Recognizing that he did his job, but he clearly is not reveling in it. Not like some savage. And every one of you know it. Every one of you so-called civil rights activists know it. That's the reason why you posted that picture and you tried to spin it. I saw those people at Dare to Struggle posting the picture, calling him a pig, saying that he set out to kill Stevie, knowing damn well the look on that man's face completely contradicts that at all. In every way, that officer was a mess after that. Yet he did his job. Not one person has even thought about saying to that officer, I'm sorry that you had to do what you had to do. I'm sorry that you had to be the one that had to put him down. I don't know if you're going to be okay. I don't know if the next time he's going to be able to, because trust me, there will be a next time. If he makes it out of this, if he gets the help and gets back behind that badge, to go out there to continue to do his job, you have got to ask yourself, folks, what's he going to do when seconds count? And he's got that on his head. How is he going to be in service of the person who is in need when he needs to, he might hesitate. Calling him a killer, calling him a pig is disgusting and despicable. And anyone who suggests that, anyone, after seeing that picture, can determine that he is anything other than someone who is devastated by what he had to do, is a liar. You're the worst kind of scum. And I'm calling you out. I'm telling you, you're the worst kind of scum. If I find out, all of you too, I'm talking to all the Black Lives Matter, the civil rightsers, Dare to Serve, Dare to Struggle, whoever you are, NAACP. If I see you out there calling that man a pig, despicable nonsense is coming out of your mouth, trust me, I'm calling you out. And I'll say it to your face. I'll come right to your face. And I will call you out directly. You're a worm. Go out there and go save a life. Go out there and keep a community safe. Put on a badge. Trying to armchair quarterback this is for suckers. That's all it is, a bunch of suckers. I saw every one of you. Some of you were wearing skirts. Yes, men. Some of you were wearing skirts with a 5 o'clock shadow. You're no tough guy. Walking around with a leather skirt with your hair in a ponytail. Having the audacity to criticize real men who put on the uniform. You got a lot of gall. Put on the uniform, sissy. Us. What, am I not allowed to say that? These people annoy me. None of these people, they stand out there and they armchair quarterback the usual nonsense, screaming and hollering. Never defended a thing. Only thing I've ever seen these people stand up for is for mutilating children and reading offensive books in the library. Somebody out there had to do the hard work and had to do the difficult work and actually had to stop someone who is not only intending to harm himself but may have harmed others. I cannot take these people seriously anymore, and I refuse to. Get it together. Figure it out. I don't know. I'm in a certain place right now. But when I heard that officer's story and I heard everything about him, and I got all the deets, just out of respect for him, I'm just not out here to just go blast it out to the world. But when I found out his story and I found out what was going on with him, just to hear those people standing out the Hartford Public Safety Building, screaming a bunch of lies and nonsense, knowing nothing about what took place on that day. Did not sit in his shoes. They didn't care, and I know they didn't. I don't even know what to tell you. I can't give you anything. Who's this sending me a message? Okay, I'll read that later. I didn't know that was a bad word. That's a bad word? No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not even a curse. I don't care. We'll take a break. We'll be back. More news, more views. When we return, we'll wrap this puppy up and your phone calls at 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Let's get another check of traffic and weather. Mark Christopher is out. We got Tom O'Hanlon. He's in BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app, search WTIC News Talk 1080, and tap earlier today to get started.
Hey, we're back. It's Reese on the radio on this Monday. Of course, there will be much more with regards to what is happening in Iran. I'm so used to Iraq. In Iran. And as that persists, we'll talk about that in the days to come. But there's so much other news to get into, which we will in due course. I've got a very serious story that I have to talk about in the coming days, which I'm going to be handing off an investigation that myself and Roseanne are doing that is very concerning. It involves a considerable amount of money to the tune of about $500,000 to $700,000. And it is, I don't know if it's fraud. I don't know if it's theft. And I don't know if it's mismanagement. But this scandal should have cost people their jobs, because we are understanding that this didn't just happen once, that this has been going on a lot with the department in government that is in charge of money. Let me just say that there is a lot of inept going around, like ineptitude going around. It is astonishing. Bookkeeping error. Just absolute scary stuff. Many people may call it corruption. I think it's far worse than that. I think that a lot of this is just people who are not qualified to do their jobs. I think they're just a bunch of political hacks. And they're rubbing elbows and they're kissing butts, or far worse. But from what I've been able to ascertain lately, there are millions of dollars that are just leaving the government. And boy, we are going to get to the bottom of it. And I'm going to get every good journalist to investigate this. I may even call my good buddy Mark Fitch on this one. I think he's going to salivate at this story as soon as I get all the details. So, a couple of you are going to be getting some phone calls from me in government. Just be ready, okay? Just be ready. Don't be shocked when I call, okay? Yeah, hi, Reese on the radio, WTIC. Yeah, just let you know. If your phone rings, just be a little scared. We'll have the paperwork very soon. Just wait. Let's get another check of traffic and weather. Mark Christopher's out, so we've got Tom O'Hanlon. He's filling in, and he's in a BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is.
You know who it is. It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, we are back and just about to get up out of here. I want to thank again Pastor Todd Williams, Bridge Community Church in Bristol. My church. It's good to have him here to sit down and talk to him. We're getting to know each other. We're not best pals yet, but I refer to him as my spiritual leader. I think he's a good guy. 5 kids, goodness gracious, and homeschooling them too. I was actually very impressed that 2 of his kids, did you hear that part, Roland? 2 of his kids got bachelors at 17 years old. 17 years old. And at 21, the oldest one is going to have a master's at 21. You usually got to wait till you're like 25, 26. Some people don't get theirs until they're 30. Just way ahead of the game. That's homeschooling, I know. Goodness gracious. Well, congratulations to them. To the phones, 860-522-WTIC. What's up, Gary?
Hey, Reese.
What's up?
This is a late caller. I always call just before 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I know. What do you got, buddy?
No, I had to call today because I couldn't believe it. This is total confirmation from God. So yesterday at church, we had my first time I went to our meeting. They're starting a new local ministry for local outreaches, not just worldwide.
Oh, okay.
So guess what? One of the ministries they were talking about.
Which
Agape.
one? Agape, really?
So I ended up meeting Joe, who goes there, is very involved with Agape, and I was asking him questions about it, and I told him about how I'm involved with with the homeless and men in recovery and all that, and he said, Jesse, why don't you come over? And so I was planning on coming over this week, and he said they have Bible studies.
Yeah.
So is that on Wednesday?
Well, this particular Bible study was for our baptism, but they have Bible study. I know they have a teen one or a kids one that goes there. I don't know all the schedules yet, but I know they do have a Bible study there. I'm just not aware of what day it is. But yeah,
okay.
Agape, it was funny because I was walking through the halls at church yesterday and I saw the sign for Agape. And I'm like, wait a minute, I know that word. And it means love, right?
Yeah, well, it's godly love.
Yeah, God. Yes, I'm familiar. I know I've seen it before.
Yeah,
and I was like, and now that you mention it, that Pastor Todd mentioned it here during the interview about Agape, and I'm like, oh, that's so wild. So I'm glad. So that means I'll probably see you around the church then.
Yeah, I was definitely coming on Friday, but I might come on Wednesday. What do they have going on Wednesday?
Well, Wednesday we're going to be beginning our meeting there. Roseanne and I have been talking about starting a meeting on our own because we kind of miss our meetings in Virginia. So we're going to do that on Wednesday nights now.
What kind of meeting do you mean? Recovery meeting?
Yeah, AA, yes.
Oh, really?
Yep, absolutely.
So they're going to allow you to do that at Agape?
I don't know. I don't think so. We're just doing a separate deal.
Okay. Well, Joe suggested, when I told him I'm very involved with Celebrate Recovery, and he said, well, maybe there's a possibility of doing some Celebrate Recovery at Agape. So that's another possible,
Oh, well, avenue. Absolutely. Please do it. Listen, do not second guess it. If that's something you want to do, absolutely do it. I hope I see you around the church.
Yeah, you probably will.
Thank you, man. I appreciate the call.
Right. Talk to you later.
You got it. Steve is in Windsor. How we doing, Steve?
Come over. Probably will.
Steve, you got to turn. Steve, you got to turn me down.
You got it.
Okay, maybe not. I don't think Steve knew he was on the line. I'll never forget the first time I ever called the radio station, and I didn't understand that. I was like, but I want to hear myself. They were like, you can't do that. Just never forget that. That was just one of my favorite moments when I was a kid. Let's try one more time. Steve, are you there?
You said.
Okay. Nope, I guess not. Sorry. Well, that's okay. It happens all the time. You know what? Since I have so much sound bites that I didn't get to, I want to play this. This I thought was interesting because these outbursts, as it were, would not be complete without the ladies of The View and Sunny Hostin Houston Houston, who does not understand anything. And again, it's not like ABC News, which is The View is a part of ABC News. It's ABC News division. It is, folks. It really is. I know that sounds crazy, but it is. They have a research department. There's someone in their ear that should know this. Okay? The War Powers Act is meaningless. People keep mentioning it like it means something. It means nothing. Okay? They have no veto-proof power. Even if they thought about it, it's literally just, it's performative, if anything. Okay? Listen to Sunny Hostin Houston House and this bozo talking about what Donald Trump did is illegal.
This is an unconstitutional war. It's an illegal war. He didn't go to Congress. He didn't go to the UN. He didn't go before the American people. And that's why at this point, 27% of Americans, only 27% of Americans approve of these actions. And
so what? So what? This is not an action that is determined by polling data.
I don't have any confidence that Donald Trump has any sort of plan. Maybe he has concepts of a plan, but he does not have any.
Oh. So I guess if Sonny Hostin doesn't believe it, then none of us should. Well, then her co-host, Sarah Hines, the other blonde dum-dum on there, she at least is a broken clock, right, at least twice a day for about a minute. She chimed in with this.
Any sort of plan.
The other presidents that have gone in without congressional approval are Biden, Obama, Clinton, George H.W. Reagan. So I would be more upset that Congress has ceded this power than mad that the president didn't check with Congress.
They don't cede the power, dum-dum. They don't. They just don't have the power, okay? They don't. It's not veto proof, okay? That's the whole deal. But I want to give props to an old school view individual, and that's none other than Elizabeth Hasselbeck, who came back for some odd reason. Why, I don't know. Did she have nothing to do? But I love the way she handled all of these bozos, screaming and hollering, talking about, this was illegal. She lays it all down, as only Elizabeth could. She was so nice and so wise to these ladies, so kind and giving. And you can watch the video, if you do, of Sonny just sitting there seething, so angry and racist that the white woman had to explain it to her because Sonny is too vapid to get it.
I so respect where you come from, Anna, on this and your ability to broadly think about it and have heart in it. I also think it's very easy to have political concussion at this point.
I love the way that she lays it out. She goes, I love your passion like a good little child who, you're so passionate about things you don't understand. Bless your heart, dum-dum.
I so respect where you come from, Anna, on this and your ability to broadly think about it and have heart in it.
And she does that. She does that to warm her heart. No, I so understand where you're coming from, dum-dum.
I also think it's very easy to have political concussion at this point and I actually had a concussion a year ago. One of the side effects was losing depth perception, where you can't see the depth of what is going on.
See that? So the left-handed compliment there? You don't understand the depth of this, Anna. I understand that you're so passionate. I love how you're so passionate, but you have depth perception problems. And Elizabeth laid them out for her.
Because you're just being constantly barraged by information or political opinion and now war. Understandably, the Americans are fatigued with the idea of war. We get that, right? We sit here and we know the repercussions of it, including the death. And I do want to say our hearts are with the families of those fallen soldiers. Your sacrifice will not be squandered. This war will be won. I do think it's threefold. One, we have 47 million Iranian women who now have a hope of freedom. That's a good thing, okay? We have an disgusting terrorist regime ended, and the people finally have hope to create their own nation again. Okay, so that's the hope. When we zoom out in geopolitical realm, okay, which is not my specialty either, but we have a ton of friends in the military who specialize in this. We see that this is actually avoiding a boots-on-the-ground war with China when we are able to choke their oil supply, and the president and our military are exemplary in doing so right now. They've cut the oil supply from Venezuela, and they've now reduced it and choked the oil supply to China in Iran. And now what that does is presumably prevent China from having an absolute stronghold on the globe. So this is a strategic move geopolitically.
And again, hard to believe it, but they actually got someone who could give them a voice of reason on The View. And it came from, come on, let's applaud it, the blonde white woman. Yes. Finally, the salt of the earth comes out and explains it to a sea of diverse dum-dums. It's funny how they are all singularly stupid, yet diverse in background. Black woman, Latina woman, black Latina woman, incredibly diverse. Clearly don't understand the issue. Women who scream and holler about oppression, and the blonde white woman having to explain to them women will be freed by this. Don't you women care about that? Huh? 47 million women freed by this. Do you not understand that? Is that not important to you? I thought you were so upset about oppression of women. Huh? And they don't. Again, look no further than these individuals. Recognize what I said earlier. These are stupid people. Not confused, not misguided, not even indoctrinated. These are stupid people. You cannot reason with them, and they are dangerous. To themselves first, because again, they will do what they're told. They will post on Facebook and say the thing that they think is smart. They will stand outside in the cold and hold signs. They're out and protesting now in New Haven. I just got a picture someone sent me. I think Zach sent it to me. Showing me a picture of a bunch of bozos out in the cold, holding signs that no one outside of that block will see. Maybe the news media might come by, shoot a couple of photos, and put it on their news. But it's about 12 people outside in the cold, standing there talking about how they want Iran to be free, I think. I think that's what they want, right? They do want Iran to be free. But what do they want to be them to be free of? Free of Donald Trump's liberation. It's sad. It's silly. But it's also stupid. You just have to accept that. I accept it. Don't be worked up. And again, all of those others, the MAGA influencers, as it were, you know, it has now become a cottage industry to disagree with Donald Trump. Hear me out so you understand. How can you maximize your potential for a larger audience when you know that there is a market for people who do not agree with Donald Trump? You get to play both sides. You get to be a Trumper who disagrees with him so that the people on the left will listen to you and then exploit your disagreement. See, Ben Shapiro disagrees. See, Theo Vaughn disagrees. See, they're even quoting Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes doesn't like Donald Trump, and they'll even quote him. Seriously. It makes me laugh. It makes me laugh. All of a sudden, Nick Fuentes is the voice of reason to a bunch of people who a week ago called him a devout racist. Doesn't make any sense to me because it's stupid. I just don't try to understand stupid. Neither should you. Okay? As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You have a good night, pleasant tomorrow. We'll see you back here at 2 p.m. Make sure you're here. Go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com and follow us on all the social media stuff, all that good stuff. I love you. Tom O'Hanlon's getting you home. He's in for Mark Christopher. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Night-night.